thought I was going to go there for business and maybe a little booty, but that's not what I did at all. I ended up very married.
Not for nothing, never happened. I'll be forever
macking.
I saw a picture of Tanya, and no kidding, I absolutely knew that I was going to marry her. Welcome to Vlogmas.
Welcome to Vlogmas. This is day 5, in actuality. We didn't do anything on day 4 because what were we doing on day 4?
Sleeping.
Yeah, I think that's what we were doing.
It was a very busy day.
Yeah. Hey! So, we wanted to talk to y'all today about, I guess, bringing back way back since you're just getting to know us, how we met, and that whole story. It's a little bit of an interesting story. At least I think it is. I like to tell it.
Interesting indeed. Interesting indeed.
Okay, so...
I was going to say, care to kick it off?
Yeah, let's kick it old school. So it was 2016 and the summer of 2016 actually, and I was like, you know what, I don't like my living situation. I was living with my mother at the time, which I love my mama, don't get twisted. It wasn't even about her as much as it was just about, I came to a point in my life where I wanted something different for myself. My business was growing and I wanted to give myself space for my business to grow, space for my mind, my creativity to grow. And at that point, my bedroom was my apartment. Literally, like, it was a couch, it was a whole business, it was a whole thing. And I just wanted something different for myself. Anywho, long story shortened, I decided that I was going to go to Atlanta because I was thinking about where to move in Toronto and I couldn't come up with an idea of where I wanted to live. And the housing market in Toronto is a little rough. So as like a in-between point, I was going to stay in Atlanta for a few months. I was thinking anywhere from 3 to 6 months actually, because that's what's legal. And I would see how it goes. So I decided to go 3 months because I was nervous and I didn't know, I didn't want to overcommit. But I was like, okay, 3 months to go to a place where I don't know anybody, I don't know anything. I'm staying with this person I met online. I literally had never met her before in my life. So this should be okay. But as a fail-safe, I asked a friend of mine if she could introduce me to somebody that she knew. So my friend was like, you know what, I just went to this retreat and I met this, it was like a black lesbian retreat. And she's like, I met this person there. She's actually living in Atlanta because we both didn't know anybody in Atlanta. And she's like, I'll just introduce you to her. At least you'll know someone. I have family there, but like really distant relatives that I actually don't really know. So I just want somebody that I could call on in case this whole thing falls apart, right? So I'm going to this city, this other country. I've never been to the city before. I don't know anybody in the city really. I'm staying with a friend I met on the internet. And I mean, she was a great friend at the time for even letting me stay, obviously. But I wanted to make sure I had a backup plan in case I got there and maybe this person's not even real. Like, y'all know anything can happen. So my friend was like, I'll introduce you to somebody. And the somebody was Danielle.
Yes, I was the somebody that the friend introduced her to. Lucky for her. So my take of that, right? Because there's always 2 sides to every story and then the truth. No, but really. So I had gone to this lesbian retreat that spring before and met someone there who actually, full disclosure is what I like to do. I had found her to be incredibly attractive, and so we started up a conversation, but ultimately decided that we were better as friends. And so, like, we just would talk and, like, just connect with each other and, like, actually sent each other some handwritten mail and stuff like that. She just was becoming a really good friend to me. And I will never forget, it was September. I want to say it was, like, September. Oh, man. It was somewhere around the beginning of September. I can't remember the exact date. When I got a message like, hey, Danielle, I want to introduce you to my friend Tanya. She's going to be coming to Atlanta in December, and she's just trying to make friends. And, I have told this story so many times, but I always like to tell it because I feel like it, for me, helps me to better understand just how connected like everything is, and how the universe like provides us with all the experiences, all the people, everything we need to like be more of who we are working at being, or like, you know, the experiences at least that we need to have to propel us forward. I saw a picture of Tanya, and no kidding, I absolutely knew that I was going to marry her. And if I didn't marry her, I knew that I was going to spend a lot of time with her. I just knew it. At that time, I had an intern who was working on a program that I was managing. And I took Tanya's picture into her. Didn't know Tanya from nothing. We hadn't even had a phone conversation.
We hadn't even met yet.
And I took her picture, and it was like, I am going to be with this person at some point. And my intern is like, thirst much? Seeing that picture, though, I just knew that Tanya and I were going to do something. For real, for real. So anyway, long story long. She and I started talking, like, just every day. We were both going through breakups with other people. So we became, like, good friends to each other initially. And I tried some little quick stuff. Sometimes I would say something that bordered a little bit on, like, romantic, kind of putting feelers out there to see what was up.
Yeah, well, and we weren't even, like, when we first got introduced, we weren't even really talking. Like, that whole thing with the picture happened, but I didn't even know about that at all. And originally, we were just kind of like, we got introduced and kind of just, like, left it. Like, it wasn't like a quick spark. It was kind of like a very chill introduction. It was like, oh, okay, cool. We friends. We'll see how it happens. And then it was like a week later, I think, or maybe even 2 weeks later. It was a little bit of time.
Then we started connecting more regularly.
Yeah, because the first little bit, we just kind of like got introduced over WhatsApp and then kind of like let it ride. And then we actually went through the breakup at the same time. That was so weird how the universe works. It's like when we first originally messaged each other, we both were with separate people, which is probably why we were so like, whatever, like, we gonna be friends, but like, it's not that deep. And then the breakup happened oddly, like, the same week or something like that. Something strange like that. And it was like a weekend or whatever. It was like something along the lines of that. And, you know, I don't like to cry often or like much with much people, but surprisingly, I had, for whatever reason, trusted her. Like, I don't know what it was, I just did. So I was like, hey, like, we're both going through this breakup. Let's be breakup friends. Like, we can call each other and like talk about our feelings and basically like not bother our friends all the time with the same stories about our breakup. So we became breakup friends at first, which I think helped us forge like an actual honest friendship, because we were really homies, like talking about some real like feelings and crying and like, but then I don't even know how it trailed off. We stopped being breakup friends and actually started talking about other stuff like life and spirituality, and all these other things started to show up in our conversations outside of just like the pain part of it. And then I think we had a real friendship, you know, and you tried it a few times. You did. But I feel like,
I mean, I was operating under the whole ideology of, you know, the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody. Yeah.
And I was not feeling like that at all. But no, for real, like, that's a real thing. And I think like me, like 4 years ago, might have been into it. Where I was at that time was like, I need a friend more than I need anything else. So, and I said this to you. And I also really didn't want to suss my situation, you know what I mean? Because I really was still going to Atlanta, didn't know anybody. So the worst thing I could do was start dating somebody that is my like backup plan, and then that doesn't work out either. And I'm like, ah. But we started flirting, I think, before I even got there.
I guess so. We started doing a little flirting. I think it was very apparent that before she got there that we like loved each other.
Yeah.
Like, but it was a kind of love that was like, wow, I really rock with you. You're intelligent.
Yeah, like I love you as a person.
Yeah, like I love you. I love what I've discovered of you so far through these 2 and 3 and 4 hour phone conversations that we were having. It got to the point that we were sending so much messages to each other that like we started like sending the voice message through WhatsApp, so we didn't have to type so much. Like I still have like most of those messages.
Oh really? Do you?
In WhatsApp, yeah.
Oh, I would love to hear them. Oh shit! Oh, I can only imagine what we're saying.
It was a lot, but I do remember though, like coming towards the month before you actually got to Atlanta, you completely trailed off.
Yeah.
Like the entire month, and in that month of her trailing off, I started pursuing other endeavors, which added, you know, added some newer components to the whole situation.
She started dating other people, in case it wasn't clear what she's trying to say. She started dating another woman while we were not communicating for a month.
Yeah. And then, though, to move the story forward, once you got to Atlanta, I think it was very apparent that we, like, really had feelings for each other and started working on cultivating something.
Which was always on the table. I want to be clear about that. That, like, I went away for a month. It wasn't I went away. I was just really busy. I had recently launched a new lipstick line. For folks who don't know, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I was recently dealing with running my own business, but also because I was a little messy at the time. The person who I had broken up with was actually working for me. So I had to take on a more workload because I no longer had that person to do some of the work that was needing to be done. My assistant no longer was with me. I was doing a lot of work and a lot of emotional processing at the same time. So I was getting prepared to, like, also leave for Atlanta, which I was trying to figure out what that would look like. I just was doing a lot. And that month before, I felt really, I would say scared and vulnerable, and also not, like, I had already opened up to her, but I also wasn't ready to open up any more than I had opened up. Like, I feel like I had hit my maximum, so to speak. And I needed time to gather my thoughts. I also circled back to redate somebody who I was previously dating to see, like, if it was a thing or not. It wasn't a thing, clearly. But I did start dating her again for a little while. So there was a lot going on in that period of time. So I feel like it was stuff that was necessary to happen before we met, though.
Sleepy. Excuse me.
Yes, it's definitely late at night. It was stuff that needed to happen. Like, I feel like that month apart gave us the time to do the last stuff that we were going to do before the universe ordained for us to meet each other. But we always said if we met in person and there was something there, that we're going to give it space to grow. It was never off the table. It was just kind of like, let's not rush it kind of thing. And then when we met in person, it was awkward as shit.
So awkward.
I still remember, like, I was staying in Marietta, which is, like, on the outskirts of Atlanta. I was staying in Marietta and at a friend's house, and I was upset because she didn't come see me the day I landed. So it was also that
should have
dynamic.
been an indicator to me that this sister right here, like, her expectations are, because I literally was working. Like, I had a work event that I was putting on the night that she landed on December the 3rd of 2017.
That was a Saturday.
Yeah, I was working.
And then the Sunday you were busy. I didn't see you till the Monday.
I was working, and then
you were working on the Sunday too?
I was chilling.
Okay, so tell the people the truth. Mm-hmm.
I was working on the Sunday. On the Saturday. I was chilling on the Sunday. And then I came to see her on the Monday. I had no idea that I was expected to be there, like, on the Sunday. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that was a whole thing.
Anywho, so that was the tension that was present at the time.
Right, which I didn't understand it. But anyway.
But I still remember, like, opening the door and, like, us awkwardly embracing each other. I was wearing this gray romper. I still remember that. We had pizza in my bedroom.
With pineapples on it.
Yeah, pineapple, black olives, spinach.
That's still our favorite.
Still our favorite. So we did that. We just listened to music and kind of vibed. And I think
let's also share that you completely, basically ignored me. She had 2 phones at the time. So imagine me sitting there between
2 phones.
One for the bitches and one for the dub. Okay, anyway. We were sitting there, 2 phones, her Apple computer, all of this going at the same time. And you want to talk about it getting even more awkward? Her ex sends her a long email.
Was that day?
That was that day, talking about how she could no longer do this, work with you, blah, 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 blah. Which I'm like, come on. It was the most awkward.
That was a random email to me because we hadn't spoken for months. I was like, sis.
It was the most awkward.
I didn't think we worked together anyways.
It was the most awkward first meeting ever.
It was pretty chill though. I think we had a good time. We were listening to Solange's album, "Sit at the Table" at the time,
and Rihanna's.
Yeah, Rihanna's album. We chilled, and then that's kind of like how it started, and it was the rest is history. And I would say after my birthday date is when we actually really started to become a thing. But we're gonna wait and tell you like how we knew we were really, really a thing, because we had this one epic date that made us really know we were really a thing. But we're gonna do a full different video on that.
Yeah.
We gotta save that one.
Yeah.
You remember?
I remember.
The epic date?
The epic date.
We had a date all day.
It was an all day date. Like I'm talking about, we woke up together in my apartment, got dressed, went on through the day and did all kinds of things. And after coming to the end of the day,
so many different stops. That like formulated our dynamic and what our relationship is.
Still like that sometimes.
Yeah.
We do 5 different things in a day, and then by the time we get to the end of the day, one of us is cranky. Usually me.
Anywho, but we're gonna save the story on how we knew we were a thing and we were gonna be together and ultimately marry each other. It's definitely worth it to like follow your heart, your spirit, the thing that is your compass and guides you. Not necessarily knowing where it's gonna take you and why, but just trusting the process. I thought I had one intention of why I was going to Atlanta. The universe had a completely different intention, and you know, I think it worked out pretty well. So I'm grateful.
You will encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. Somebody needed to hear it.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Kisses.